313watkins.com. Streaming on Roku.
And good morning, and welcome to Truth to Power. I'm your host, Darwin Griffin, and I just want to wish everyone that is viewing this show happy Juneteenth today. And just to give some people a little bit of history about what today represents, today is known as Juneteenth, and this is June 19th. And back in 1865, Union soldiers arrived in Galveston Bay in Texas with news that the Civil War is over and slavery in the United States is abolished. A mix of June and 19th, that's where the word Juneteenth comes from, and it's been a day to commemorate the end of slavery in America, which was made official by the adoption of the 13th Amendment. And despite the fact that Abraham Lincoln, president at the time, had his Emancipation Proclamation that was issued more than 2 years earlier in 1863, and this was on January the 1st, a lack of Union troops in the rebel state of Texas made the order very difficult to be able to enforce. And there are some historians that blame the lapse in time on poor communication in that era. They didn't have social media like we do today. They didn't have TV sets. They didn't have radio like what we have today. But others believe that the Texas enslavers purposely withheld the information so that they could go and get an extra crop sowed that year. Ultimately, few were willing to grant enslaved people their freedom without authorities present to mandate that they do so. But upon arrival and leading the Union soldiers, Major General Gordon Granger announced General Order Number 3, that the people of Texas are informed that in accordance to a proclamation from the executive of the United States, all slaves are free. This involves an absolute equality of personal rights and rights of property between former masters and slaves, and the connection heretofore existing between them becomes that between employer and hired labor. The freedmen are advised to remain quietly at their present homes and work for wages. They are informed that they will not be allowed to collect at military posts and that they will be supported in idleness either there or elsewhere. And beginning that day on June 19th, 250,000 enslaved people were freed. And despite the message to stay and work for their former owners, many left the state immediately and headed north to nearby states in search of their family members who had been taken to other regions during slavery. For many black Americans, June 19th is considered an Independence Day. And in 1980, Texas became the first state to celebrate Juneteenth as a national holiday. The law enacting the state holiday passed in 1979. But nearly all 50 states had made Juneteenth an official observance by 2019. Today, dozens declare that it is a state holiday. And on June 17th, 2021, President Joe Biden signed legislation officially creating the Juneteenth federal holiday. So there's a lot of people that really are in observance today, but they just don't know exactly what was Juneteenth and what it entailed. So in our second hour, we're going to talk a little bit more about that with a young lady named Andrea Hunter, who is the Detroit Downriver A. Philip Randolph Institute president. I'm her vice president for the chapter. But this morning, I've got a young lady that's going to talk about a group that she's involved with, and it's called Teen Girls in Faith. And her name is Miss Stacy Whitfield, and accompanying us on this journey is a person who is kind of a regular, as far as say when I need her to co-host, she's there for me, and that is Miss Summer Moore Crawford. But again, you're watching a special edition of Truth to Power, and we are very, very plumb pleased and pleasured to have Miss Stacy Whitfield on the show with us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me. This is an amazing day, Juneteenth, to be on your show. I'm so excited.
Well, we are just as excited as you are, if not more. Wouldn't you agree, Summer?
Oh, yes. I'm so excited to see and meet you and hear the wonderful news you have for us today.
Well, let's get started. So basically, just tell us a little bit, Ms. Whitfield, about who you are, your background, and you grew up here in Highland Park, right?
Yes, it is absolutely nostalgic.
So this is like a homecoming for you.
Yes, absolutely. I went to Highland Park High School. I went to Ferris Middle School, and what I first thought about when I was driving in was the Michigan Day Parade and how I was a pom-pom girl. And so I would march with the band and I sung with the choir and eventually did graduate from this. I miss our school building. I can't believe it's gone, but just a lot of memories. And I graduated class in 1993, but I just remember walking home from the games and Highland Park was a great place to grow up.
As it is for a lot of people.
Yes, sir.
Probably have some very fond memories.
Yes, I grew up on Monterey between Hamilton and 3rd. Yes, 194. That was my address.
Oh, true Highland Park.
I still remember. Yes. And it was crazy because I moved to Highland Park in the middle of my 7th grade year. And so, just turning into a teenager and then about to go into high school, it was a really, really big transition. But I just remember just how the different demographic, and I'm not talking about people, I'm also talking about the attitude. A lot of my classmates were really they act so grown. Like I was under my parents, and they were just grown. They were ready to embrace the world, and so I learned so much from being in Highland Park.
Well, tell us a little bit about now. You then went to Oak Park Schools, and you started working there at Oak Park Schools. Talk about a little bit about the transition from what you first started doing when you got there to the school to what you do currently.
Okay, so I did. So I thought I was going to be Miss Corporate America. So I was working for Blue Cross Blue Shield in 2010 and ended up being impacted by a huge layoff that the company did. And so we did move to Oak Park. I was pregnant with Jordan, my youngest, who's now about to graduate, which actually graduated from high school in June. University Prep Academy.
Oh, okay.
Woo, 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 UPA, let's go. Let's throw them U's up. That's what they do. And so I moved there when I was pregnant with her. Me and our family, me and my husband, my other daughter. I only had one at the time, and so I was a very active parent, and when the layoff happened, I just started volunteering at the school. I was working for free, okay? And so because of the repertoire that I had built with the rapport, that I had built with the principal, she said, "Are you working here?" I said, "No." So she needed somebody. She set me up. Because she needed somebody to work in the lunchroom. Has anybody ever been in the lunchroom at any elementary school? It was crazy. But I started working in the lunchroom and then eventually got hired into the district as the media center tech. And then I moved into GSRP, where now I've been the lead teacher for the last 4 or 5 years.
Okay, I always do this. GSRP, what's that?
Great Start Readiness program. It is the preschool program that's been launched, and it's in all different states. It's in all states actually, and it's attached to the idea that preschool children need preschool, and it should be free. And so it's a free program that we have in our in Oak Park. I believe you guys have there's GSRP in Highland Park as well, but yep, it's everywhere. Yeah, and so I'm a lead teacher there. I love what I do, and what I realized, just kind of, when you're doing these types of interviews and things, it causes you to reflect. And so what I realized is that God's given me, He's given me, a calling for each age group. Whereas I'm ministering to young children, and with my group, Teen Girls in Faith, I'm ministering to young girls, and I also have another business where I minister to women. And so God's just blessed me to be able to touch those three age groups. So I'm really excited.
Awesome. So, Teen Girls in Faith.
Yes.
First, tell people how to contact and reach you, and then go into your why.
Okay.
Why did you start this? So how can people contact you, because they want to find out more? Is there a website? And then
Yes.
go into your why.
So we do have a Facebook page. It's Teen Girls in Faith. Really, really easy. Also, I do have an email address if you'd like to email me. It's Teen Girls in Faith, but the difference is you add 0731 at yahoo.com. Teen Girls in Faith 0731 at yahoo.com. And the significance of 731 is July 31st was when I became an official 501c3 last year on July
Congratulations.
31st. And as a celebration and grand opening, making everything official, July 31st of this year, which is in a few weeks, I will be having a more more official grand opening for my company. And so I'm so excited.
Okay. So what is your why?
Well, if you think about the name of my company, Teen Girls in Faith, first of all, I have 5 daughters. So I already knew I had a women's ministry. If I never left out of my house, okay, I had to minister to those 5 girls. But growing up as a teen girl and in faith, being a saved young girl, it was hard. And there were just so many things on this side of my life that I wish that I had known in those younger years, and so my goal is to help girls soar in the area of their emotions, their physical health, their finances, and so it's spirit, soul, body, and finances. My goal is to just help them. I want to introduce, if they've never met, I want to introduce them having a relationship with God and a powerful prayer life. In addition to that, so our spirit, our soul is houses our emotions. And you're seeing young girls fighting and pulling each other's tracks out and pouring sugar in people's tank and
It's that bad?
Wait a
they can
minute.
get
What's
that
that
bad.
song? What's that song? I broke the windows out of his
I
car.
busted windows out
I
his
mean,
car.
they're doing this so young now. Like
Yeah.
I have teen girls in my home. I have teen girls, and so a lot of their friends will come to my house and spend the night. And I'm just being introduced to so many different challenges that they're enduring, and they're introduced to a lot more, so much earlier than what we were. And so it's with this phone, and so the age groups that I'm targeting is girls 10 to 12. 13 to 15, and 16 to 18.
Okay.
And I even told the moms to come, because you know how when some moms get together, they can help encourage one another too. So I'm just super excited about not just the possibility, but just the future of this thing. Just passing it down to my girls. I expect this thing to go long after I'm gone. So I'm super excited about that.
Thank you for, because I could see the legacy building. And do you currently have a building, or you are starting? How are you connecting with the young women?
So I used to, when I first started, I would just meet in my home. Okay, so going back a little further, when I grew up, did you go to pajama parties when you were little?
Yes.
I was only allowed to go to one girl's house. You know, my parents was funny back then. Okay, you couldn't go to everybody's house.
Only was family. I can say that. It's true.
There was this one girl, and oh God, I wish I could see her now. Tiffany Gardner. She had always had this one slumber party every year for her birthday, and I just remember the young. It was us there, everybody who was her age, but then she also had her older aunties, and they would just start giving us all of this information about boys and lipstick and saving your money and all of these different things that I didn't know. And I just see that as, how the Bible talks about how the older women are supposed to teach the younger women. That's what I see. I I have about 10 volunteers so far that have this partnered with me to just kind of pour into the girls. And so we just want to impart wisdom and knowledge to them. And so that's what just gets me so excited. That's what wakes me up every day, because so we will be meeting at the grand opening will be at the Plex. I don't know if you know about Larry Callahan and SOG. Larry Callahan has event space in Southfield that I'll be using for the for the grand opening, but moving forward, my pastor has partnered with me, and so I'll be utilizing our church building consistently moving forward. But consistently, every fourth Friday, we will be imparting to young girls with Teen Girls in Faith in the Detroit area, west side of Detroit.
And you mentioned church building. Which church building would that be?
So the name of my church is, shout out to Up From The World Ministries. I am a minister there. I am on the praise team there, and me and my husband, we serve there. And my daughters, we all go there. I'm so excited. We're on Puritan and Livernois near U of D Mercy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are your goals for the next, say, 6 months to 1 year, since you are giving your grand opening very soon? What goals?
Okay, so my goal for that night is to touch at least 50 girls.
Okay.
And so here is the strategy. The strategy is that the girls that are leaving will get 3 invitations to take home to invite 3 more girls to the next one. And so my goal is by December to have ministered to at least 150 girls. It's my goal to help the girls set up their own bank accounts and learn how to save. Did you know if you save $20 a week for a year, you'll have $1,000?
Wow.
$20 a week. That's not a lot of money, because they spend more than that on hair and nails and everything else that girls do. So my goal is to help them start thinking about not for right now, but for later. So my goal is to help impart to their next, not just their now. So that's my goal, is to help each girl learn how to set up their bank account and save consistently. First and foremost, I learned, I'm a Mary Kay consultant, and the first thing that I learned is that God first, your family second, and your career third. And so my goal is to help them learn about the Word, how to consistently read the Word, and have a consistent prayer life.
Is this program free?
Yes, yes, that's awesome. Okay, so that's the best part, is that all they have to do is if they go to my page, they'll see the QR code to scan All you have to do is register the girls, and we will take care of the rest. All we need is the name and their age, and we want to know what age group we're going to plant them in, and we will take care of the rest. I believe where God guides, He provides. And so I believe that He's already started making the way financially, but I am taking donations. So there's our Cash App is Teen Girls in Faith. That's it. Just go to Teen Girls in Faith. You can make any size donation you want. But I believe, again, where God guides, He provides. And so I believe that He's going to provide the way. But I did want to make this free for them.
Okay. Now, we know that young ladies have so many adventurous days. How do you plan, and you and the other mentors work on keeping them engaged during their time? And how long, how many hours is the program when they come, when they attend?
Well, first and foremost, like I said, it's going to be like a big pajama party. I'm in music, and so I know music is really, really important. But I do want to introduce them to music that I listen to that is fire. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times, people think, or young people think, that being saved is just so boring. But when I was 13, I called it falling in love with God. I just did. And I had an experience with Him that I wanted to share with them. But also, I learned about, music, good music to listen to. And we're going to do some really, really awesome icebreakers. We're going to journal together. We're going to dance. This is the really cool idea that I'm really excited about doing. My goal is to have heels there to teach them how to walk in heels. Not just, I want to minister to the whole girl.
Like etiquette.
Yes.
The etiquette.
Yes, I want to
about
minister
that.
to the whole girl. At the end of the year, so we're starting in July. So this time next year, I want to have a formal where they can sit down at a table with the proper forks and knives, and I want to teach them all of these things. And so we are going to be covering a lot, but I will share with them, and then I want them to tell me what they like to do. I eventually too want to have during the summertime at least 1 week of like a camp, or something like maybe like a 4-day thing or a weekend thing where we go away to Airbnb, and it's just so the opportunities and everything is just endless. So
now when you look at the program, there may be some people that might think that this is kind of a opportunity to and I hate to use the phrase,
come on, bring it out,
to babysit their girls. How would you tell a person who is hearing what you do during the course of the day that this is not a babysitting program? This is an actual program where they're going to learn.
Now, are you talking about Teen Girls in Faith, or are you talking about GSRP?
Teen Girls in Faith.
Teen Girls in Faith. Okay, so because I'm a mom, I was always looking for places that I could take my daughters that would empower them and uplift them. And so 2 hours, I'm not really concerned about other people's intentions. I'm only concerned about mine. But if they drop them off with me for 2 hours, they're gonna have an awesome child when they come back. So I'm really not I'm not offended by that, because especially a single mom, parents need help. I mean, I'm a part of their village. I'm their hands extended. So I don't know about the babysitting part if they think that, but I'm definitely, one thing I learned in teaching is that you have to have a home school partnership. It is very important. And so for this program, one Friday out of the month, that's my sacrifice to them. So if they need it, I'm there for them. The other thing is that a part of the partnership is that dropping them off is all they need to do, as far as I'm concerned, and we'll worry about the rest later. But I am really, really interested and concerned, and it's my passion.
I was just about to say, it sounds like it's your passion
to help, again, to be a part of their family. I still am in contact with a lot of my moms from previous school years. Because,
and hold that thought, because we got to take a quick break.
I'm sorry.
So we will be right back, and we'll kind of delve a little bit deeper into that passion that Stacy Whitfield, and she is the founder of Teen Girls in Faith. So we'll be right back with Summer Moore Crawford. I'm your host, Darwin Griffin, and we will be right back, so stay tuned.
The staff of WHPR TV and Radio invites you to a live TV and radio broadcast celebrating the birthday of our President and CEO, Mr. R.J. Watkins, Monday, June 22nd at WHPR Studios located at 160 Victor in Highland Park, Michigan. Come and share your birthday wishes and comments on live TV and radio, broadcasting on digital channel 15.2, Roku, Apple TV, Google TV, Fire Stick, 313watkins.com, Alexa, and simulcasting on 107.5 FM WGPR HD3. Monetary gifts and cards are appreciated. You can even call 313-868-0351 with your special message and Cash App at $WHPR TV Radio. Portions of this special event may be used as a part of R.J. Watkins' documentary. Get ready, lights, camera, action. See you there.
My name is Darwin Griffin, and I am the host of Truth to Power, which is a thoughtful weekly TV show that airs on WHPR TV 15.2 every Friday morning from 10 a.m. to 12 noon, bringing influential voices and leaders to the forefront to discuss issues that impact our cities, our states, and the world. This show aims to educate, inspire, and engage our audience with people in today's news.
Justice for Mario Willis. Truth. Facts. Evidence. Mattered. Log into justiceformariowillis.com. Read for yourself.
I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri. If you're behind on your property taxes, we have programs to help. You don't have to lose your house, and you don't have to pay all at once. This summer, our mobile unit will be visiting Wayne County communities to help make it easier to start a payment plan and keep your property. Go online or call to find the plan that's right for you and where you can get help from our mobile unit. The last thing I want is for anyone to lose their property to foreclosure. Make your payments every month and keep your property.
If you enjoy the music, the talk, and the vibe right here on WHPR, we need your support. Help us keep independent radio alive by sending a Cash App donation of whatever you can to $WHPR TV Radio. Every dollar makes a difference. That's $WHPR TV Radio. Support the station that supports you.
All media platforms are engaged. Copy. Get ready to launch your show or product. Periscope ready. We're 5x5 ready to launch. Copy that. Trend worldwide across all major platforms.
Ignition. 3, 2, 1.
The world is waiting. Watkins Broadcasting. More than just TV.
313watkins.com. Streaming on Roku.
And again, welcome back. You're watching a special edition of Truth to Power. I'm your host, Darwin Griffin, and I am joined by Summer Moore Crawford, and we are joined by Miss Stacy Whitfield, and she is the founder of Teen Girls in Faith. But before we went to break, I just wanted to kind of, get more of this passion from you about what you do with the young girls. And another question I want to ask you, too, before I turn it over to Summer again, is that when you look at these young girls, what are some of the criteria that you look at for bringing these girls into the program? Do you talk with their moms, their dads, interview with them? Do you also talk with any of their teachers, or how far do you go when it comes down to your selection process or your screening process before you have a young lady in your program?
Well, I consider my program just like going to a public school. There is no criteria. If you are a girl, if you have skin, no, I'm just saying. No, if you're a girl, show up. If you're a girl. Now, I will say that parents will confide in you and share with you things about their child. However, I'm not turning any girls away.
So regardless of, in terms of, say, when it comes to mentally challenged, anything, you can work with anybody.
Yes, and so now if you're talking about someone with autism or special needs, that is something that I would just need to know beforehand so that we can make sure we have the proper staff available to help out with those children. And then I may even, because it really depends, because children with special needs, they're kind of funny about their environment, and so I may need the parent to stay with them for the first one, just to see how they flow with it and see if they're comfortable, because really when you have a child with special needs, that's just what they are. They're special, and so they have special they need to have a situation that ministers to them and not harms them, because sometimes if it's too loud, or if there are too many people,
right.
Sensory.
There is a sensory, and so that is something that would really be up to the parent. I would not want that parent to drop that child off. I would want them to stay with that child just so we can monitor to make sure that they're comfortable.
And I know there's other programs that are similar to yours that I know some of the things that they do is they have like cooking classes.
Yes.
They also, as Summer mentioned, about etiquette classes. They also have classes where they may kind of get them acclimated into going into like starting a business.
Yes.
Yes. Because you see a lot of young women very innovative. Very
innovative.
When it comes down to starting businesses.
Yes.
And especially like where you see young girls that may do what they call like the lemonade stands. And and I think that that's something that when I see these young ladies out here, they tend to be very resourceful and know a lot of the resources that they can find. And Summer, you know that because you're very resourceful.
Yes.
With some of the things that you do.
And I was with the resources, I was thinking, I know as Teen Girls in Faith is a new program, as you are growing in your 501c3 status, a lot of times donors like to know who have you partnered with. Do you have any dream partners or people or organizations you would like to collaborate with that could help your organization thrive?
So I really want to partner with different businesses. Like let me put it in this perspective, because what my mind is taking me to is exposure. I want them to be exposed to different, so the parameters is I'll be teaching on is the spirit, the soul, the body, and the finances, right? And so under finances, I've seen different I saw this one company that I want to partner with where they teach girls how to braid, or they teach nail classes, how to They teach them how to do nails. It's just exposure. Everybody's not going to acclimate to it. Everybody's not going to gravitate to it. But what I want to do, just like those children with special needs, girls are sensory, and their senses will lead them to wherever. I want to expose them to authors. They're in my company that I work for in Oak Park, Lessinger Early Childhood. I've met now 3 authors under the age of 10.
Wow.
I mean, and so these are different things, but so what I want to do is really hone into something that they may see as a hobby, and it may be a business.
All right. Now, next question I have for you is, who do you look up to? Who do you look up to? Because ultimately, this starts as a dream, and then you have a vision. But we look up. We have mentors ourselves as adults. Yes. So, who do you look up to?
And this may seem cliche, but when I tell you, one of the strongest, sweetest, humble persons that I know is my mother, Doris Mosley. She is the one who taught me how to pray. And if you call her at 8:30, because she prayed at 8:30 every morning, and this is before I went to kindergarten, I just remember she would kiss and hug everybody as they're leaving out the door. My dad would take everybody to school just before I went to school, but I just remember after everybody was gone, she would shut that front door. We played music while we would get ready for school. She would turn the music off, and I remember her going to the top stair of the basement, and she had her Bible, and she would begin to sing and pray and read that word. And you see these big skyscrapers everywhere, but they would fall to the ground if they don't have an awesome foundation. And so she taught me to have a foundation of prayer and reading my word, because we need to be replenished. We're in our house and we're protected, but then we go out into the world and we face all these different things. But I never lost my faith and my connection with God, and that's something that I want to train girls to build every single day.
Speaking of foundation, what keeps you grounded? Because we know that when you're working, and I too understand working with youth and young adults over the years, sometimes you need to take me time.
Listen.
So what keeps you grounded, and what's your escape, through this? Because you have to reset to continue this work. A lot of times when we get into working with youth, we may feel like the sense of burnout. So what foundational tools do you plan to utilize for yourself?
Mm-hmm. Well, so I'm just going to talk about a day in the life of me. After I've had my day with my 4-year-olds, and this year was a doozy, okay? I come into my home, and I've really done this since my children were old enough to understand. I go in my room, and I tell them, Mommy has to take a brain break.
Okay.
I disconnect from my school day, and then I reset for an hour a day, and then I re-enter the world of my family. It's like I have to take off everything that happens. So I learned to disconnect, and you don't have to do a hotel room. You don't have to do anything like that. You can really just go in your bedroom and close the door. I love music. Another thing is laughter. I love to laugh. I love to laugh. And sometimes I will just put on something that I consider absolutely hilarious, and I will laugh, because laughter doeth good like a medicine, according to the word. And it does. Like, it helps me just recenter, get the day off of me, and a little piece of cheesecake don't hurt either.
So what would you suggest besides the cheesecake for the young girls? Because you have some mothers and fathers that have their young girls that maybe a little bit, I want to say the word, difficult to love. That's probably the best way I can put it. And what do you say to kind of encourage parents who may have a child that might be a little difficult to love, because in a lot of cases, does the child love herself?
Yes.
What do you say to parents that may have a child like that?
Okay, so I'm very, very big on. So first of all, when you have a child that is wayward or they're a little bit they're off track, it's embarrassing. And sometimes parents, you wouldn't know that a lot was going on because they're hiding it. The first thing I'm going to encourage parents is to not hide, because you're going to need a support system to surround that child. And growing up, I mean, being married and having 5 daughters, I've encountered a lot of challenges. I remember one in particular, one of my daughters. We just having a lot of challenges with her, and so me and my husband, she was mad too at this, but me and my husband, we put her in a car and we drove to the park and we talked to her. And on the way home, I was texting all of my family and friends. I said, I need you all at my house for prayer. In the next 10 minutes, I need you all to get to my house. So when I pulled up in front of my house and we walked in, she walked into a house full of people praying. It was a big circle and they were praying. And when she came in, I had her sit down and we just began to pray for her. And she was like, what's all these people doing? And she was just, but later on she was like, you called a prayer meeting just for me. I mean, hindsight is 20/20. She didn't realize that how much that benefited her now, but I see her now. She's pursuing God so hard. She graduated from Kentucky State with her bachelor's degree. She's now working in the district with me. I mean, she's doing so well. Bought her own car. Like, now she's preparing to try to move out. I'm saying that to say, don't try to hide that you are struggling with your children, because there are other people. You are not by yourself.
I have a question.
Yes.
Right along with that. Define self-love. Because, say for instance, young women attend Teen Girls in Faith. Mm-hmm. And they're on this spectacular, motivated high. It's like, they're so excited. But then when the lights, camera is off and everyone has gone home, they feel alone. How would you define self-love to where they could find that beacon of hope in the midst of loneliness?
So again, I've made many. I guess throughout this whole thing, just have really made a lot of references to your relationship with God. But I just need people. You don't really understand having a relationship with God until you're in it, and that strength from within comes from Him.
I'm going to hold you right there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we are in a society where there are a lot of young people who do not understand and have faith in God.
Mm-hmm.
They've never met or been introduced to that. So it's like some youth will shy away from it. They feel like, oh, you're too preachy, you're too pushy. What will be your approach? And again, we're with the definition of self-love as well as introducing them to a faith walk.
Mm-hmm. So I will introduce like strategies, but one of the things that I've really learned being a teacher is modeling.
Okay.
All I can do is model before them. I don't want to shove it down their throat, because at the end of the day, again, like I said, I've had teen girls. And it wasn't what they heard me say. It was what they saw me doing, right? Most things, and my pastor from a childhood, he used to say, things are better caught and not taught. So I won't shove it down their throat. But again, it's me modeling what I'm saying in front of them. I won't talk to them about a relationship with God. I won't talk to them about prayer if I have not done it or have not seen the successful results from participating in what I'm saying. And so the things that I'm going to share with them are things that have worked in my life, you know. And I believe that God's going to send to me the people who I'm called to minister to. You know what I'm saying? I believe that God's going to lead the families to me who I'm called to be a part of their life, for life. And so if they come, I will teach. If they stay away, they weren't called to me.
Now, speaking of programming, we
Yes.
all know that programming can cost a lot of times. As a new nonprofits, we tend to come out of our pockets a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Have you thought about any fundraising goals or ideas that you would like to see for Teen Girls in Faith? Where would are there any goals for this year that how could people donate?
So do you want me to tell you my financial goal, like the number that would help me get started? Is that what you're asking me?
You never know until you ask.
Okay.
What?
So my goal, what I've been working on, is 50 businesses donating $100. Because I have my 501c3 status, your donation is tax deductible. And so if 50 businesses gave $100, or small businesses, families, whoever, my goal is $5,000. That way I can not only prepare for what I'm trying to do for the rest of this year, but I can start working on next year. So that's the goal.
And have you thought about, because we have a lot of youth, a lot of young children, a lot of families right now, we're into the summer months, and food is scarce. The cost of food and inflation is on the rise. Have you thought about partnering with and collaborating with different food organizations as Forgotten Harvest or Focus Hope or things of that sort, companies of that sort?
I had not thought about that. However, being a teacher, I do have resources, and one of the ones that I really love is the Meet Up and Eat. And so I believe that they still are going to have that program. They really don't start announcing it until, but I believe there are different churches in the area that's around. I know that I'm called to Oak Park, but I also live in Detroit, and so that's two cities that are in my heart. So there are schools in that area. So the goal is to make sure that I let the parents know that these resources are available, because sometimes they just don't know. And so in that, if they need that resource, they can connect with it. But I would be a funnel. I would be funneling them to different ones until I can establish my own.
Now, earlier you mentioned that your overall goal is to have at least 150 young ladies.
Yes! Yes!
The important question is retention. What is your goals for retention? Because we know that life happens. Life is lifing. Mm-hmm. A lot of young ladies, they'll make an excuse like, Ms. Whitfield, I came this week. I'll come back next week. I'll come back next month. And they disappear. Mm-hmm. What is your goals for retention?
First and foremost, people start, but they don't finish. And so my goal is to just be consistent. My goal is to make sure that I'm having my event or my mentoring sessions consistently every month. They need to be able to depend on my word that I'll be there. I will also be utilizing the Teen Girls in Faith Facebook page to gather the girls, possibly, I'm still working on this, but I just don't want to say anything that I'm not going to do. But it's having a podcast.
Okay.
to reach out, and it's really shout out to different schools and have different girls on that are doing stuff. Like, again, my daughters, they are just amazing. Shout out to Lauren, London, Jacqueline, Dorian, and Jordan Whitfield. Those are my babies. But just kind of touching on issues and everything that are centered around young girls, but reaching their audience, but letting them know not only am I there once a month, but you can reach me this way. You can reach me this way. And so just being available and being consistent. I talked about the homeschool partnership, and one of the things that my parents know that they can always call my phone. So I'm making myself available in a more not just far away from them, like I'm the founder, I want them to know that, Miss Stacy, you can contact me and you can reach out to me whenever you need me. So just make myself available along with my team. That's why we'll have a team set up for each age group, 10 to 12, 13 to 15, and 16 to 18, to make sure that we're keeping in contact. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I just wanted to, I know we're nearing the top of the hour. Mm-hmm. Volunteers. What type of volunteers would you like to see? How many volunteers do you need? And are you accepting male and female volunteers or just women only? But what would you like to see in your volunteers?
I want someone that likes children.
Oh,
first
yes.
and foremost. I mean, you cannot work with children unless you like children. So someone who loves children, are passionate about working with children, that are committed beyond once a month, and that are loving.
Okay.
That are open. I don't want anybody judging them, because some of them, especially in that older age group, they may have already got off into some things that they want to stop.
Well, I want to add, this is so important. When it comes to volunteers, safety, background checks.
Absolutely.
And will volunteers be required to have a background check, say iChat or fingerprinting, or how would you seek those volunteers, and would you check those backgrounds so that they can work with youth and children?
Well, now I'm going to say this. Most of the people right now that are on my team, the 12, they've already, they're in industries where they have to have these things in place already. So I started like that. So as the vision grows, yes, that will be something. But the people that are in my immediate circle, these people have already had to go through these channels in order. They have already had to have a clean background in order to be in their field that they're in. And so I gleaned from that group. And so from that group, as we grow, yes, channels will be put in place in order for me to make sure that, I wasn't going to have no issues.
But the last question that I have is in regards to vision. Mm-hmm. Right now, you're starting as a new nonprofit, and you're working via your church and other places that will provide you with in-kind donations of space. Would you like to have your own building one day?
So listen,
and I'm gonna ask you to make that answer real short and concise.
See, I know when he asked me, do I talk? I talk a lot, so I apologize, but it's just so much, and it's just so exciting. But yes, I do see in the future having a Teen Girls in Faith house.
And now the last question we're gonna ask you: give your contact information one more time.
Okay, everything is Teen Girls on Faith. It's Teen Girls in Faith, Teen Girls in Faith on Facebook. Teen Girls in Faith 0731 at yahoo.com.
All right.
Well, we have been very, very pleased to have had Stacy Whitfield,
thank you so
founder
much,
of Teen Girls in Faith, to be on the show with us. And we definitely would love to have you come back on again and talk more about the success that you've had with all the girls that have gone through your program.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Summer.
Well, we will be right back, and we will have none other than Captain Kirk, a.k.a. Andrea Hunter, on the show with us, and she will be talking about Juneteenth as well as Philip Randolph Institute, the Detroit Downriver chapter. So you don't want to miss this. Stay tuned.
If you enjoyed the music, the talk, and the vibe right here on WHPR, we need your support. Help us keep independent radio alive by sending a Cash App donation of whatever you can to $WHPR TV Radio. Every dollar makes a difference. That's $WHPR TV Radio. Support the station that supports you.
Good morning. Today's a beautiful day, and today's not only a beautiful day because we're here in Inkster, but it's a beautiful day because I'm here with Pastor Gene Overman. I have the pleasure to serve on Operation Refuge as a board of director. This organization not only serves Inkster, but the neighborhood communities. I mean, the work we do here is beyond. It's led by Pastor Gene Overman. I've known Pastor Gene Overman for over 10 years. Everybody claims that that's her son, this is that. I mean, we go way back. She's mentored me. She's helped me throughout my career. I love you, Pastor. Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on today?
Well, we're so excited, and thank you, Safe, for bringing a team in to really help us get the word out. Today we're doing our food that we do consistently every Wednesday and Thursday throughout the month, and just very excited to share with everyone listening that Operation Refuge has Mother's Pantry. It is a client choice food pantry that we are very thankful that you come in here and it's a place of dignity. You shop just like you're at Trader Joe's, hopefully, or one of the better grocery stores. So we're on the main strip because we want our families to leave those houses if you have a need and come over. And that's whether you're here, Dearborn Heights, Garden City, all of our surrounding communities in Southeast Michigan, Wayne County, actually. We really serve great food, and we have lots of programs. But today we're here talking about Mother's Pantry, and you get the chance to see some of the interactivity at Mother's Pantry with our families. And sometimes there's a great need, and sometimes you find yourself the working, underemployed. So we have lots of Alice families where you're right at that threshold where you cannot receive benefits, but you still need that support. So we're very thankful that through many partnerships with Operation Refuge, we are able to provide good, nutritious food.
What I love about our pantry is the fact that you can come in, park your car, and shop like you're walking into a grocery store. Yes. Nobody can tell you you can't take this or you can't take that. That's that's a sense of pride where you're not hurting anybody's feelings, and then I can walk in, get what I want, and leave. I mean, that's an amazing.
And you leave with your dignity, and oftentimes when we have food insecurity, you feel some sort of way to start with, right?
Absolutely.
So when you come in, we want to have the best choices.
Yeah.
And thankfully, we really do have excellent choices. We have halal, we have kosher, and we have partners that ensure that we keep what all of our families need.
Yeah.
So we're just very thankful.
It's your leadership and your vision. That's why, right?
And the board of directors, right?
Absolutely.
I can't get it done without you all. And as you see from the young man, you leave with fresh pineapple.
I love it.
Food,
I love it.
Right? And whether you're walking or you're able to drive up, our door is open for you.
And then the line, I can see the line.
Yeah,
I mean, when I
actually
pulled up, was all the it was all the way down to the STEM building. So it's amazing. It's a sunny day. Come to Inkster, folks. Thank you, Pastor. I love you.
My name is Darwin Griffin, and I am the host of Truth to Power, which is a thoughtful weekly TV show that airs on WHPR TV 15.2 every Friday morning from 10 a.m. to 12 noon, bringing influential voices and leaders to the forefront to discuss issues that impact our cities, our states, and the world. This show aims to educate, inspire, and engage our audience with people in today's news.
The staff of WHPR TV and Radio invites you to a live TV and radio broadcast celebrating the birthday of our President and CEO, Mr. R.J. Watkins, Monday, June 22nd, at WHPR Studios located at 160 Victor in Highland Park, Michigan. Come and share your birthday wishes and comments on live TV and radio, broadcasting on digital channel 15.2, Roku, Apple TV, Google TV, Fire Stick, 313watkins.com, Alexa, and simulcasting on 107.5 FM WGPR HD3. Monetary gifts and cards are appreciated. You can even call 313-868-0351 with your special message and Cash App at $WHPR TV Radio. Portions of this special event may be used as a part of R.J. Watkins' documentary. Get ready, lights, camera, action. See you there.
313watkins.com. Streaming on Roku.
WGPR Detroit HD3.
You're watching WHPS, Highland Park, Detroit.
And good morning and welcome. You are watching a special edition of Truth to Power. I'm your host, Darwin Griffin, and we are joined in this journey this morning by Summer Moore Crawford. And one of the persons that I had when I had her on the show before, we affectionately call her Captain Kirk. We're always saying to beam us up, Scotty. So when we go and we do that, we want to make certain in terms of say that she is the person that we always want to make certain that she goes and she is on the Starship Enterprise with us. But we are very, very blessed to have a young lady who has been in the trenches, who teaches a phenomenal civics class, who does a lot when it comes down to encouraging people to get out and vote. And this is none other than A. Philip Randolph Institute, Detroit Downriver's president, Andrea Hunter. Andrea Hunter, welcome to Truth to Power today.
Thank you guys for inviting me.
And let's get started. Just tell our audience a little bit about who is Andrea Hunter. I mean, there's very few people that don't know who you are. You have connections throughout Wayne County, throughout the state, throughout the country. You're always getting recognition for a lot of different things that you do. But just give us the little brief snapshot about who Andrea Hunter is.
Well, I'm a community activist. First and foremost, as a woman, I'm a skilled trades electrician. And as a union person, I realized that the unions are one of the key places where women of color and anyone of color can make decent wages. And because you get paid the same thing for doing the same job as someone else. And it's very important for women as far as economically. I am a product of a father who, UAW, taught union through us. We couldn't eat. Me and my brothers couldn't eat. Couldn't get a bike, couldn't get anything without saying, Chrysler bought you that bike. My mother worked at the post office, so you better tell your friends to mail that letter if you want to get that money you need for that prom, whatever you need. So I just grew up in a union household, and that taught me. We're union grandparents, and we're a military family too. My parents served, and my father served in Korea, grandfather in World War II, great grandfather World War I. I got cousins, my mother's side, the veterans from Vietnam, and kids in our family. Growing my cousin Kevin Cottrell, he's serving now. Julianne serving. So, we just dedicated to our country. And one of the things about it is that we just want to ensure that this country goes by what it promised. And I tell people every day, you got to look into the mirror for the country you want. You are the action or your savior. So we have to get people enacted in understanding that, and that's what I do. I recently, last year, was appointed to the Michigan Women's Commission, thanks to Summer here, to Wayne County Women's Commission. And we're very proud of things we have done here in the state. We have the child care beer. They're helping people get discounts if they get their employer to sign on discounts on child care. And child care is very costly. We helped, legislation with the menopause bill. Now in Michigan, we celebrate, we have Menopause Day, which is very important because a lot of women go through menopause as a psychological, because it's a biochemistry issue that causes mental and physical things on the job, and people are getting disciplined, fired for these ailments. So now we are recognizing something that's natural, that they, that's something is birth, it's something like that. So I'm I'm about legislation. So as 31 years, I served as a steel worker there. I was, by my peers, I was able to make history being the first Afro-American and first woman president of my local. And that lead to ways in different things, me now being part of ASME, me being a part of being a skilled trades person. Of course, I always advocate for skilled trades. And what we need to understand is education is the problem. It's like some simple as not having cursive in schools. We got to understand why that's by design. And you don't have cursive in schools because what's the biggest thing written in cursive? The American Constitution. Mm-hmm. So if you don't know the 26 amendments to the Constitution, you don't know your rights. You don't even know when you violate it. So these things like that we want to educate people on, because it's all about education. It's all about making sure that people are empowered. Because people usually don't participate because they don't understand. And this is what you have to do, is get people to understand. So that is our goal. A. Philip Randolph, people don't know what it is. A. Philip Randolph Institute is a senior contingency group of the AFL-CIO. It was created by A. Philip Randolph and Barry Rustin in 1965 to protect the Voters' Rights Act of 1965. Everybody knows who the Legal Women Voters are. They was created in 1920 to protect the 19th Amendment. We were created to protect the Voters' Rights Act of 1965. So, and we've been around since that time. We have over 130 chapters throughout the United States of America. And one of the things we fight and try to let other people is the education in the homes of people. A lot of people tell me, well, I put it on Facebook, I put it on social media, people don't understand. Everybody can't afford the internet. Those Obama phones are gone. So those informations, without going face-to-face, door-to-door, is not getting to the people. Barry Rustin was able to organize 250,000. Like people like my grandfather, of your people there, you can look at the picture, it's way more than 250,000 people there. Of course, they downplay the numbers. However, when Barry Rustin organized, was one of our co-founders of our organization, he was able to get people there without, people didn't have televisions in their home. A lot of people didn't have phones in their home. What did he do? Door to door. That does not get old, person-to-person contact, because you don't hit the masses when you do the social media, when the masses don't even have any access to the social media. One of my little cousins was upset during the COVID, saying we give people the laptops and they still not having their kids sign on to get educated. You gotta have the internet. You don't have the internet, can't get on laptop. A lot of people can't afford that. And with this big, beautiful bill coming, it's not, if it's passed, it's already passed. People don't understand the devastation you're about to see in households. You're about to live things that your great parents or great grandparents told you in the Great Depression. You're about to live it, flat out. You're about to experience this. So this is why we're educating and going out here door to door. Today, like, we're having a Juneteenth celebration at Woodward Bar and Grill from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. We're going to be registering voters, people, if you moved or just want to register, or you just moved to Michigan, you want to register with us. And we will be, there's a membership drive. People who want to join our organization to be able to come out here and do this work. We're a nonprofit, we're 501c3, and we welcome you out here.
So this event tonight, is going to give other people that may be interested in joining the organization, and then also promoting their organizations as well, what they do when it comes down to protecting the voting Rights Act, as well as helping to get the word out that there's an upcoming election that's coming up in August. There's a primary, and then also letting people know what the criteria is to be able to register to vote, and then also to vote in the general election in November. So as you say, we're not trying to tell anyone who to vote for, but the main thing we're trying to do is let people know to get out and vote.
Yes, and what we do, because we're nonprofit, we cannot promote a candidate, but what we can do is promote issues. Like one of the things I'm going to be talking about tonight is the importance of history being made. The other day, the history was made on Wednesday. Tuesday night, when Michigan passed, the Senate passed the Voters' Rights Act of Michigan. We are the first state to ever pass this kind of legislation protecting voter rights. Because what happened with the VRA, Voters' Rights Act, the other day, last week, with that laws, really particularly kind of harms the South, right? Because those were states that was under the South. And I'll talk about some of that tonight. So people think, okay, well, but still, this is a stepping stone for it to happen in the North, even though that piece was directed to the South. However, that's why Michigan has passed its own Michigan Voters' Rights Act. I'm going to talk about the importance of you now getting with your House of Representatives, because that's what the difficulty is going to be in the House to get this passed. So tonight we're going to talk about how important it is and the significance to your pocketbook and your economic growth for this Voters' Rights Act to pass. So, and give you the avenues, on how to get in touch, because a lot of people don't even know who their House representative is. So we want you to get to know that. It bothers me that you could tell me Beyonce's last drop of her hit, or what all the beef between artists, but you can't even tell, because those people got money. You gotta protect your money. You don't know the people who's at their legislative walls that protects your income. So that's what we want to get back, because that's the issue that we have of hand. And I see different things for one, I want to say everybody happy Juneteenth, right? And it bothers me. I see the colors red. That's Africans' colors. Juneteenth flag is red, white, and blue. We are celebrating becoming American citizens here in this country. So Juneteenth, of course, a lot of people don't know what it is. Juneteenth is celebrated because on June 19, 1865, the very last plantation in Galveston, Texas, got the notice that they were free. So that means, think about what I'm finna say. This passed in 2 years prior, in 1863. So that means some people were still slaves for 2 whole years, and they didn't have to be. 2 whole years, okay? Because, hey, they didn't have Sprint back then. Verizon, right? It's a horse and buggy. And please understand, when some people were going to these plantations, they were murdered and killed en route. Because, of course, they did not want you to know that you were free. Another thing I want to discuss, and people don't understand, when they talk about, we're not going to get reparations. We don't get 40 acres in the mule. Well, let me tell you, part of that deal. Part of that legislation was, and it was legislation. We were asking them to give us legislation. Part of that deal was that you got 40 acres in the mule, but the plantation owners got $300. Do you know what $300 was from 1863 to now, the equivalent of $300? So they were giving them $300, which they received, to compensate for no longer having slaves. So if they got their portion, if we gave reparations to the Japanese, we gave reparations to everybody. And Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. I never understand why we gave them reparations, because they attacked us first. But we gave them for bombing them after they did us. But they got money. So why cannot the very people were responsible for the economic growth of this country? Without slavery, we would not be America. Please understand. Because of that free labor, right, America was able to grow and thrive. So we only giving back to the people who built this country, because this country is built on economics. So you economically giving reparations to somebody is the reason why you be one of the richest nations in the world today.
Can I ask you this question? When you speak about reparations, so many of our youth do not understand what that means. And I know that a lot of the youth don't even want to vote. Can you speak about those two areas, about the importance of youth voting and reparations and helping them to understand what that means?
Well, you can't really help the youth because their mom and daddy don't know. Now, if you're not teaching your kids at home, because you don't know. So everybody get on the youth, but the youth is only a product of what you are. Their mama don't know. Their daddy don't know. So first we got to educate the parents. Now, once the parents understand, because most kids look up to their parents, right? That's their first role models, their mom and their dads. However, the mom and dads don't know. Right now, many are talking, and I tell people, we do not put down people that don't know. I always talk about Dr. King, for example, is this. Dr. King graduated when he was 15 years old from high school. He graduated from college at 21. He had an IQ of over 160. However, you're not going to look at one speech where he's using these big words, gerrymandering, all this stuff. He's talking to people plain English, right? And that's what we do. We don't talk to people to make them feel stupid, like they don't know. Because trust me, it's a time I didn't know this information either, right? I was not born knowing this. No one is. So the point of reparations, like I just explained, we have to explain to them that this was a law decree saying you got 40 acres in the mule. It was a law that they did not, anything you have a law, and the law was not enforced, it's an order for the people to get it enforced. Because the law that was gave this when this happened, during this whole Juneteenth situation and the reparations, everything that was happening, the same thing that happened then, the owners of the plantations got what was said in that decree. We didn't get what we were supposed to get in that decree. I tell people, I keep it simple for you. It's just that simple, right? And it didn't happen. So when people say, right, they're acting like it's a new law. It's not a new law. It was already there. We're just demanding we get it. We get the equivalent to what 40 acres in the mule would have been back then. Do you know what a person could have did with 40 acres in the mule back then? With 40 acres in a mule, correct? Because they didn't have tractors. Those mules were the tractors, okay? They could have grew produce, right? They could have grew that, could have sold it, build like farmers do, build plantations, and build economic growth. Anything could have happened if you got land. Once you got land, you could have built on that land, built your shop, built businesses. It was a way for you to have economic growth and opportunities that other American citizens had. Because what bothers me now is when people, and I'm not saying young, because old people saying it, well, they're not listening to the 14th Amendment. These amendments were called, and I brought things here, you're going to get that tonight, we're going to pass this out. It's called the Reconstruction Amendments, right? The 13th, the 14th, and the 15th Amendment. Please understand. Why when they talk about back in the 14th Amendment, you think it's okay because we got the 15th. The 14th, all of them say something different. So when they say, well, we got the 15th Amendment, the 14th Amendment gone. The 14th Amendment is what make you a U.S. citizen, people. If they get rid of the 14th Amendment, everything else don't matter because you won't be a U.S. citizen. Laws to the amendments to the Constitution, you would not be a U.S. citizen. You would be like a non-citizen. The illegal immigrants, that's what you become without the 14th Amendment. 14th Amendment specifically says any American whose ancestor had servitude or whatever are now considered American citizen. Without this amendment, you are not American citizen. And what's the biggest thing you can't do? Vote. The ICE gonna come to your house. And where they gonna immigrate you to? Because you was born here. Where they gonna send you when you were born here? So all I'm trying to explain to you that one thing that scares me, and I know they all call me a nerd, and I'm probably a nerd. Please understand the words coming out of my mouth. If you don't know your history, you're doing to repeat it. Hitler, we are right now in 1938 Germany. This is what 1938 Germany. This is everything that Trump has done is exactly what Hitler did. Okay? And we know what happened with Hitler. We know what instrumented there. Get hate against hate. You know, the people are so busy trying to, put the foot in each other's neck, they're not looking what happened. Elon Musk, just a couple weeks ago, became a trillionaire. I try to explain to people. There's 12 zeros in a trillion. Do you know how many zeros in a trillion? Now understand the debt that we about to have because of all these this big beautiful bill with these tax breaks that you think is going to help you. Please understand, people. My people with Social Security so happy. That is only tax breaks for 5 years. After 5 years, it turns around and you paying more. And when you drop, I'm an electrician. I'm so math major. It's simple math. You don't put nothing in the pot. By the time the Social Security you get now is going to be reduced because it's not going to have less money in it. Mm-hmm. Those who are trying to get on Social Security, all right, they're not going to have a bigger pot. So it's going to reduce the amount of money because we're getting tax breaks and we're not putting it in it. Please understand, the people that are benefiting today from that are from the people working. Because ever since Lyndon Johnson, again, I'm saying it, Democrat president, they've been taken away from Social Security. Now, what we need to do is demand they put what they taken out since 1960-something back in the pot. Mm-hmm. Put it back. You're not supposed to touch it in the first place, right? So that's things that we can do. And people say, well, this don't happen, whatever. I'm going to say this real slow. If your vote did not count, they would not be going out their way, spending millions and millions of dollars on legislation to stop you from voting. It's a common sense thing. And I know common sense ain't a flower that grows in everybody's garden. We got that. But that is why we have to educate those and let them know. Because you got to understand, they should take one little African-American boy, train him how to do some math on that plantation. Train him how to read, because he was the one keeping the ledgers and stuff for the livestock and everything going in. But what did he do? He turned around in the candlelight and taught the rest of the people how to read. When they tell me we waiting for somebody to be our savior, we got to teach our own people things. We have we had a technology we can't rebuild, right? It's as simple as that. When they didn't let us in their college institutions, because I tell everybody, they try to go to Harvard, Yale, Princeton. Morehouse and Spelman is just as good as so is Howard. Because the difference is in those conversations is that they taught you about being black in America. How many kids you know got great grades, go to these universities for 1 or 2 years, they drop out because they're not being taught that not just educated about how to survive. Every major historian went to HBCU. When we couldn't, they wouldn't teach us. We teach ourselves. That's what we have to do.
Go ahead.
I was going to ask about the youth. At what age can they register to vote? And how can they prepare? I know a lot of places are helping to register youth to vote, but what age can they register?
In Michigan, thank God, legislation passed that they can register their vote at 16 and 17. What's great about that, they'll start getting voter registration information now. They start, getting different literature, and it's good. Because here's what the legislation that we fought for. We fought for the fact that if you can get tried as an adult for murder or crime at 16, 17, why you can't be able to register to vote? Let's keep it real. That's how I feel. I feel if you can be 18 and go to war and fight and get to your death for your country, why you can't drink liquor? Some things to me just make sense. So that's why. But here in Michigan, if you're a 16 and 17-year-old, you can register to vote here in Michigan.
And what material or what items should they have in this short time? Now,
this is what's stressing me out. I'm telling you, parents, this is what I do with my kids. When your child becomes 13, you don't have to give them their Social Security card. Give them their number. They at least have to. I tell people, when you fill out the voter registration, ask for your ID. A lot of kids don't have a state ID yet, 16 to 17. Why they should, or they might not have a driver's license, but they should know the last 4 digits of their Social Security number. So that's something they have to know to fill out this thing. It goes on to either or. Either you can give those, and I don't recommend because I didn't eat theft and things like that. I don't ever recommend that to people do that. But at least do the last 4 digits of your Social Security number. So parents, give your kids their Social Security number. This is their identification for life.
And that's something that we definitely want to make sure that we continue to stress that. Andrea, we've got to take a break. Summer, we got to take a quick break. So when we come back, we'll get more into detail with Detroit Downriver, A. Philip Randolph President, Andrea Hunter. Stay tuned.
The staff of WHPR TV and Radio invites you to a live TV and radio broadcast celebrating the birthday of our President and CEO, Mr. R.J. Watkins, Monday, June 22nd at WHPR Studios located at 160 Victor in Highland Park, Michigan. Come and share your birthday wishes and comments on live TV and radio, broadcasting on digital channel 15.2, Roku, Apple TV, Google TV, Fire Stick, 313watkins.com, Alexa, and simulcasting on 107.5 FM WGPR HD3. Monetary gifts and cards are appreciated. You can even call 313-868-0351 with your special message and Cash App at $WHPR TV Radio. Portions of this special event may be used as a part of R.J. Watkins' documentary. Get ready, lights, camera, action. See you there.
Watkins Broadcasting is going worldwide. Now you can watch Detroit's own WHPR on your TV from anywhere in the world. No matter where you are, you can stay in the know with WHPR TV and Roku. You can get your easy-to-install Roku box from wherever you shop for your entertainment gear. Once your Roku box is connected to your TV and internet, go to the channel store on the home menu of the Roku box. Enter WHPR TV in the search engine and add it to your channels. That's it. That's all you need to get the best in entertainment, news, and talk, no matter where you are. Roku brings all of your favorites to your TV. Netflix, Hulu Plus, Crackle, HBO Go, and now WHPR TV, Detroit Live.
If you enjoy the music, the talk, and the vibe right here on WHPR, we need your support. Help us keep independent radio alive by sending a Cash App donation of whatever you can to $WHPR TV Radio. Every dollar makes a difference. That's $WHPR TV Radio. Support the station that supports you.
All media platforms are engaged. Copy. Get ready to launch your show or product. Periscope ready. We're 5x5 ready to launch. Copy that. Trend worldwide across all major platforms.
Ignition. 3, 2, 1.
The world is waiting. Watkins Broadcasting. More than just TV.
My name is Darwin Griffin, and I am the host of Truth to Power, which is a thoughtful weekly TV show that airs on WHPR TV 15.2 every Friday morning from 10 a.m. to 12 noon, bringing influential voices and leaders to the forefront to discuss issues that impact our cities, our states, and the world. This show aims to educate, inspire, and engage our audience with people in today's news.
313watkins.com. Streaming on Roku.
Morning again. Welcome to a special edition of Truth to Power. I'm your host, Darwin Griffin, and we are joined in this journey today by Summer Moore Crawford and also by Captain Kirk. And her government name was Andrea Hunter, but we all know her affectionately as Captain Kirk. So this is Andrea Hunter, president of the Detroit Downriver chapter of A. Philip Randolph Institute. But Andrea, before we went to break, you were talking more in terms of, say, about what reparations, really constituted in terms of, say, with the 40 acres and a mule. So if you can kind of just elaborate a little bit more, because there's a lot of people that don't understand. 40 acres and a mule back then was a lot. now here they did everything they could to take that land back, because a lot of the people were trying to go and start towns in other states. They were trying to find their relatives who had been separated from them, that were sold to slave owners in other states. And that's the thing that there's a lot of people that don't understand, like with Tulsa, like with Greenwood, like with a lot of other places, that they were starting towns that black people were thriving. And I mean thriving very well, educated leaders that had banks, churches, all different types of businesses in those communities. And as the thing is that when you have all these things going on in a city, now you have, just like here with what happened at Paradise Valley, with Black Bottom, expressways that were put in and just eradicated all the businesses in those areas. But thoughts?
But first, we got to understand, from the beginning of this country, there was never equality. First, it was to be able to vote, you had to be 21 years old, you had to be a white male, and you had to own property. How many people own property? So even whites were discriminated against, because it's always trying to be a premise of the have and the have-nots. Those towns that thrived and were destroyed on purpose by the actual government. People got to understand, look at things, they actually set fire, torches by the government. There, people think it was rogues, vigilantes. No, it was sanctioned by the government. So military came in, things came in, and they destroyed the cities because they always want what we call reserve army of labor. If anybody took sociology, it's called the reserve army of labor. They have you working a little bit, then they lay you off. Working a little bit, lay you off. They do these things to make sure that you still working for them. It's still a form of slavery. The problem is people just think it's a black thing. But poor whites America, the 99% is subject to this out of the 100%. The 99% of Americans, they are victims of this, right? So they like to make you think it's a black thing. It's not. It's an overall thing. Now we suffer in the points of what we think that, you give somebody, like, it's no different than Willie Lynch, what he taught in the plantation, right, to the plantation owners. Black man taught the plantation owners, right, in a big convention, on how to keep black people slaves mentally, because it's all a mental thing. If I make you believe you have no power, if I make you believe your vote doesn't count, if I make you believe this, I don't have to fight you. You already destroy yourself mentally. So that goes back to the fact that, as Willie Lynch told him, pitch the light skin against the dark skin. Put the lighter skinned blacks in the house. Then it's no different what you're doing with the white Americans. White Americans get a little bit more privilege in their mind than you, but they're still part of the same slavery thing. Like I said, all whites could not vote in the beginning of this country. They had their own property. So if you was an indentured servant, you were a slave, you're the same thing. You did not get to vote either. They give them a falsehood of superiority, and they don't have it. They get to pay the same taxes you pay if you make the same amount of money. Everything happens the same for you. Y'all on the same insurance plans. If you get denied, they get denied. They get the same thing you get, but they think in their own mind they're a little better. Same way with Afro-Americans. The ones with college degrees think they're better than ones without college degrees. They always got somebody to pit against someone else so they can feel good about themselves when we all getting screwed. Okay? But no lubrication, no reach around, and no kiss. Right? But you don't understand that because it's a mental thing. In order for you to make you feel yourself good, most people, they sit down. My mother used to tell me, some people can't handle waking up and brushing their teeth. It's stressful. So if all this come to you, for example, when we talk about these reparations, like I explained, it's already given to you. It's already legislation saying you get this. You're just asking for what you're due. They make Americans think, oh, they ain't gonna pass that law. It's already passed. Mm-hmm. Now it has just to be enforced. And now we have to, equate or calculate what's the equivalent from 40 acres in the mule. 40 acres in the mule. We have to equivalent, what would that be today? That's all.
Who enforce those laws?
You do. You the American people. That's what I'm saying. You enforce the laws. Mm-hmm. You are the ones who put these people in office. See, one thing about it. You see, back in the day, my grandfather used to say, people come up here had a third grade education, but they had more common sense than we did. They actually went to their school board meetings. They went to their meetings. They'll tell that person, if you don't do what we tell you, we'll get you out of office. Coleman Young was a perfect example of that. We want you to get rid of this police force, the big four. We want you to do this. And if you don't do this, we're not letting you be mayor. You don't do what we say, we're not going to vote for you. See, it comes a time where who you vote for answers to you. You, the customer, always right. The customer's always right. The American people who pay taxes are the customers of this country. And it's our fault. You can keep blaming them and we'll never move forward. You got to blame yourself for not enforcing things. I tell people, you get a union contract, we gave you the contract. Now it's your job to enforce that contract. That's where the grievance procedure comes in. That's what your stewards and every committee people, whatever you have in your organization. The law is there. Now, we can make changes in the legislation, because like I tell people, that Voter Right Act thing that happened and went through the Supreme Court, once it goes to the Supreme Court, it's a done deal. It's the highest court in the land. You have to know civics, right? And a lot of people don't know basic civics. So the way our government, back in our day, I'm 58, we used to have I'm just a bill. Now you don't have none of that, right? But that's still the parents and kids. When parents tell me what their kids don't know, I look at them. What you're not teaching them. That you have to educate yourself to teach your children. Okay? Unfortunately, their parents became lazy. Like, it's a teacher's job to teach my kid. It's this and this and this. I want religion in schools. We don't ever want religion in schools. And I'm a person of religion. We have too many religions in this country to have religions in schools. That's your job as a parent to do that. What do you think your job is? Like I told my kids, don't ever let the teacher call me. Right? The teacher should not have to discipline your children. That's your job to make sure that when they go out somewhere, they be respectful. What do you think your job is? That is your job. My mother's 5'2" little Creole woman. I'm 6 foot. Me and my brothers knew. My brothers are 6 foot. She gave you a look in church. You knew it was going to chill out. Right? So when you got parents here rewarding their children for nothing, they have $200 gym shoes. They got cars. The student parking lot look better than that teacher's parking lot when it comes to cars. All right? This is the problem. You're teaching your kids to get something for nothing. Then you're going to tell them, we got to teach the youth. You ain't even teaching them different respect for themselves or someone else. Because when you disrespect your parents and your elders, you disrespect yourself. Because you're rewarding them. You still give them everything they want. Why would I have to be respectful? Why would I have to be educated? Because it don't matter what I do. You're going to pay my bills for me. I'm never going to have to do anything. So, I tell people now, we had World War III, and these kids had to fight in war. There'll be no cell phones there. We all going to be talking another language of the country because they ain't going to do nothing. Because they don't know. They can't read cursive. They can't do anything, and that's our fault. Please understand. I don't want my kids to suffer. Well, let me explain to you, most of you out there. When you die, your kids can't do for your grandkids what you did for them because you enabled them. They're not going to be able to help your grandkids when you're out of here. Okay? So that's one thing we have to understand. All other races come over here and they own strips of land. They've always being mad at the Arabic community. You've been here longer than them. That's your fault. We talk about the Detroit public school system. We talk about things. Most of the people sitting on the Detroit board look like us. The Detroit school board makes the curriculums. They hire the superintendents. So you made your school, quit talking about the man. The man ain't did that. Your elected officials that you see every day that live in your neighborhoods are doing that to you because you don't have time to go there. But you're in line for those Chris Brown tickets. You're in line to see all that. But you can't go once a month to a school board meeting that has the most precious thing that's supposed to be is your children. That's on you.
I have a question. Let's go back to voting. I know when I was coming up, I was taught about voting because I had relatives that took me to the voting booths with them and to the polls, and I understood. I was able to do some research and look at the slate. And we even did a little practice. And I remember coming up, being in school, they'll teach you how to bubble, how to prepare. A lot of people start voting early on amongst their peers when they're voting for like who's going to be prom king and queen, who's going to be homecoming king or queen. It's the same type of ordeal. But for some reason, when it comes to voting, our current generations, they just don't want to be bothered with it. What's your take on that?
Well, again, because their parents ain't vote. You have some people now, first time ever voted was for Obama. And after Obama, they ain't voted again. So, like I said, we can't focus on the youth when we can't get with their mama and daddy. First, the youth, okay, they don't do what you say, they do what you do. If they don't hear their parents going to the voter booth, why would they go to the voter's booth? They haven't heard their parents doing this, why would they do it? Because it was one of those such a thing. It was like a big thing. Me and my kids could tell you, we still go vote. Y'all see us, my Facebook friends, you see me and my daughters, we do it together all the time. Right? I did it with my parents. You go to the vote as a family. It's no different than, sitting down and doing, something as a family. You go together. Right? Like you plan a vacation together. Why wouldn't you plan voting? Another thing about the primaries, I tell people, that's why I don't like who's on the ballot. That's because you didn't come out in the primaries. The primaries decide who's going to be in the ballot in November. When you don't participate in the primaries, this is what you're stuck with in November. Mm-hmm. Primaries narrow down the candidates that's going to be on the ballot in November. But you don't participate in the primaries, right? So that's something else. But like I said, we got to understand that we have to teach, and it's our fault. Like I said, we used to go to HBCUs. We taught our own. We had to teach our own. Show them the economic things, because one thing they're not going to listen to. As I teach at Wayne State University and I teach at U of M labor studies. That when you say, well, they're going to worry about pensions. Young people don't feel they're going to have one. When you talk about there's not going to be any Social Security, you got to understand, you got to meet people where they are. When you talk about affordable education, talk about affordable housing, healthcare, now you're talking to the youth. Now, you got to look at your audience and pay attention to who you're talking to. We just did a thing, River Rich. Those kids are worried about their lights and gas bill. When I was a teenager, I was worried about putting gas in my car.
Ooh-wee.
Okay, well, I was worried about going to the movies. Hey, I got to go to skating every Saturday. They're actually worried about lights and gas and homelessness.
And food, too.
So my point is, you go talk to them about stuff. Think about the subjects they're talking that's important. Me and my brother Frank Woods, long time ago at the vote, when UAW had a vote center over in Illinois, we got together with a group of young men and asked them what they thought would be important to the city. We were shocked. The important thing they thought on the ballot was, because they said ever since Kilpatrick was gone, they had nowhere to play basketball. That the city parks and things in there didn't have swing sets. The basketball hoops didn't have nets. And we said, well, what's important? And then say, Frank was like, y'all can go to the Y. Some young men said, you got to pay, it's $25 a game to play at the basketball for the Y. Mm-hmm. We got to do this. We don't want to get into trouble, but we need somewhere for recreation. It was very important to them to be able to play basketball, baseball at their local park because it's economic. These kids were making, young men were working 2 or 3 jobs. This guy told me he worked at signing a beef carver on the weekends, and during the week he worked at I can't remember, some type of hardware store. And when he gets off, he want to have somewhere to, his energy. That's why we keep our young men and women in sports as kids. That extra energy they have, we don't want them to join gangs. Because idle minds are door of a workshop. But that all they talked about was how the city park should be able to be clean, grass cut, basketball, nets, hoops, things like that. So that's what was important to them in the city. And now we see the difference. Crime is really lower down in Detroit. And why? Because we have these community centers open. They had these things. Under Kwame, I'm just saying things he did do. I'm not saying whatever, but the Kimney centers, all these centers had my brother's one of them. He worked, DT. Where young men, when men would volunteer, these kids would come there, they could do their homework with these latchkey kids or kids who didn't have families. So they come there, got dinner and the meal, and that was important. So these are the things we understand. And while they're here at these dinner and meals, we should be doing educating them about voting. Absolutely. Getting them voter registration information. While they're at the parks and they're playing basketball, we should have the table set up there, explaining to them about the importance of voting. One thing about the millennials that I love about, and Gen Zs are the show me people. Okay, you tell me to show me. I had to sit there with Kari and Kelvin and show them, see how much money and millions of dollars this candidate spent on that to get that bill away from you. to make sure that they did this. When you show kids the money that they're being spent, okay, my vote got to matter. It got to matter. Another thing you bring up to young people, how they had to pass we are the only race in America that it went all the way to Supreme Court that we could wear braids in the workplace. That you had the Crown Act. That you had to pass a law giving us permission to wear braids because it was kicking young men. If y'all remember, they had the braids off the football team because of the helmet. Now you see all the sports guys wear their braids. You see that's only because of the Crown Act. So when I'm trying to explain to you, everything matters. I know when I was young, they passed a law because kids were missing. They never found that person in Detroit that was kidnapped. Remember killing those kids. However, when we were young, he could tell you, our age, they were saying you had to be in the house off the streets at 9 o'clock unless you had a job, and then you had to have permission to be off at that time. So laws could even dictate if you can come out your house or not. They could pass laws to do anything they want with you. And here all you people say ICE is not important. I'm telling you, working as an AFSCME representative, I have people who are not showing up to work because they're scared of ICE coming to get, not them because they're citizens, but they got people at home that are not. And that's all races are getting under ICE. I don't care if you're European, I don't care what. If you're not an American citizen, then something that's happening is really bad. A lot of people are getting detained who just have the same name as somebody and they're American citizen. Ooh. And they're being detained for 72 hours or more. It makes them lose work because they didn't call off because you don't get a phone call. And some of these things, so after 3 days, you can't get detained until you can get a phone call. So now you, everybody know most jobs, 3 days unknown is what? Automatic termination. Automatic. So that things that's happening to people just because you got I had a case where the guys had the two same names, but one guy was born in 2003, right? And the other guy was born in, I think it was 1973. But regardless, that other one in 1973 was an illegal person. The young kid was born here. But he had to go through all that because it was name avocation. And what happened if that 14th Amendment is revoked that y'all think don't need to be here? Because that's what the Voter Right Act did. Blacks are voting now like everybody, so we don't need to put stipulations in it because that's no more happening. It's not happening there because they had stipulations. And as soon as that got taken out, you saw what Alabama did. You saw what Georgia did. You saw what Tennessee did. As soon as they took it out. The immediate things of those states and here's what it said. Those particular states that were known for doing poll taxes and all these different things had to petition the federal government before they made any changes in voter registration or voters things. That's all it said. They had to get permission to make sure that it was not discriminatory. Soon as that got taken out, you see, if you're paying attention to the news, the legislation from Louisiana. And please understand what happened with that. Louisiana was asking about, because Louisiana had this, it's my family farm. They had, it was word about the, Afro-American prominent things. I don't like to use the word gerrymandering because people don't even understand those big terms. But it's like when you have a certain threshold of people and they have a certain circumference of where they are and they can vote. Well, they was trying to change because they had two prominent Afro-American hosts. They was asking for that. The U.S. Supreme Court did something totally different what they was asking. They used this as an opportunity to take those rights away, but that's not even what that was not even brought before the U.S. Supreme Court. You don't realize that was not what that case was about. That was not. So, but they did something totally different than the ask. Okay, they took all opportunity and used it, but that was not even what the issue was on the floor. What they actually what they voted on. So please understand, they took the opportunity and they used it. But I just wanted to explain to people that we, as community leaders, people like us and our things, we have to look at the issue and break it down for people to understand it. We are the corporate. When people ask me how we do it, it's simple. A. Philip Randolph did it. Barry Rustin did it. It's been done for years. Dr. King did it. Angela Davis is doing it. Just take an issue, look at it, take all that legal jargon, and break it down for people to understand. And everybody keep asking what we have to do. I don't understand how better I can explain it. It's already been done. I'm not telling you something that's not new.
Well, Andrea, now the thing is that if somebody wants to get more of a civics lesson from you, you have a it's on YouTube where somebody can go and they can find out more information. They can hear more from Andrea Hunter, and she has what's the title?
Please, it's SIPS, the and sign. Don't spell and, the and symbol. Civics. It's SIPS and Civics. It's on YouTube. Please subscribe, because if I get at least 500 subscribers, I'm told I can get different type of things from YouTube as far as advertising and stuff, so I can go more global. But then on my SIPS and Civics, that's SIPS, SIPS, and sign Civics, CIVCS, on there, and it's going to be on this Drea X, because my friends, my APRI chapter, we all Trekkies, so like that's what I'm saying. You keep calling me Captain Kirk, but that's Lieutenant Sulu over here. What we do, my other group, the national APRI family called me Drea X, like Malcolm X, right? Mm-hmm. So it's under Drea X, but you'll see it. My daughter made a very nice sign for it, Kari Hunter. But I break down civics. Like now, I have something on there, and if you do it all in order. My first one, and it's called SIPS and Civics because my daughter Chitara Hunter wrote a books called Tea Experiment. You know, a lot of our recipes from our family down in New Orleans, but we have a different libation. Some have the liqueur and some do not. And I sip and just have a conversation with you about this. Like I said, now I'm going through the amendments, but I had to stop the amendments. I think I'm on there because I wanted to get into. I had to do the act that just passed, the SAVE Act, and it was not passed. Well, it did pass the House, the Senate. Mm-hmm. Then I had to do we had to take a break for the big beautiful bill because people don't really know what's finna happen to you. $9 billion cuts in education I'm telling you, is 9 zeros in a billion.
Oh my goodness.
Then the cuts. Now let me tell you what's really going to devastate all of you, because this is going to have Americans dying like they did before. 15 years ago, before President Obama did Affordable Care Act, people were dying. They were losing their homes, dying for lack of health care. This big ugly bill, that's going to be implemented in November. Here's the key thing you understand. This bill makes so many restrictions and cuts to the Affordable Care Act. A lot of people are going to be kicked off because they don't meet the requirements to be on it. Once you're kicked off, which will be millions and millions of Americans kicked off of the Affordable Care Act, starting in November of this year, not future, right now, 2020. When that is implemented, that means Blue Cross is going to lose millions of customers, HAP going to lose millions of customers, Aetna's going to lose millions of customers. So what do you think they're going to do to you? Raise your premiums. Some people say, my job take care of you. Your job not going to be able to afford it anymore. So just like my public sector workers is paying $500 because of that 80-20 rule that Governor Sniper, y'all call him Snyder, Sniper created in 2011, they got to pay out of pocket. Now it's you, private sector, who've been have so much as paying your co-pays. You're about to see how astronomical your pays are going to be.
Well, now, if you want to get more information from President Detroit Downriver A. Philip Randolph Institute, Andrea Hunter, where can they come tonight to get more information?
Tonight, we are doing a Juneteenth celebration, educating you more on Juneteenth, why it's celebrated, because trust me, if you're a person of Afro-American and descent, this is your 4th of July. You weren't free on the 4th of July. Of course, we'll take the holiday, but you were not free. You were free June 19th, 1865.
So give the location.
So the location would be at Woodward Bar and Grill, right here in Highland Park, right up the street on Woodward, 12,000 Woodward Avenue, and we'll be there from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. If you cannot make tonight's event and want to be a part of our chapter, go to Detroit Downriver APRI, one word, Detroit Downriver APRI.org, and get on our website. You'll see the membership, you'll see our mission and everything if you want to be a part of our chapter, because we're a nonprofit organization and we're doing a voter registration drive. Our drivers get 250 new voter registrations by August the 1st, and we need you to help us. You have any events going on you want to set up, you can get in touch with Brother Darwin here and see if you can get there. But like I said, our website is Detroit Downriver, APRI, one word, .org.
Is there a door cost for this evening, and is there a membership cost?
Yes, there's not a door cost. This is a free event, but if you want to join our chapter, if you are a officer in your local union, because like I said, we're still labor-based, but you don't have to be union to join our chapter. It's a community organization. It's $35, but all regular membership is $25, and that's a year. If you're retired or a student, it's only $20 a year.
Great. We have had a ball getting an opportunity to get a civics lesson from Andrea Hunter, Detroit Downriver, A. Philip Randolph president. And when you come tonight, you will be very, very educated and informed about goings on here in the state of Michigan, as well as in your local municipalities. Summer Moore Crawford, thank you for being on the show with us today. Andrea Hunter, as always, thank you for being there. Roy McAllister Jr., the Honorable Roy McAllister Jr., we're always honored to have you come to the studio today. We were very blessed to have had Stacy Whitfield, the founder of Teen Girls in Faith, have a very, very safe and have a very informative and peaceful Juneteenth celebration today. And also to the fathers, enjoy. Have a very, very rewarding Father's Day this weekend as well, too. Have a great rest of this weekend.
Happy Father's Day. Holiday weekend.
Happy Juneteenth. Day.
.313watkins.com. Streaming on Roku.